All right, let's get the camera positioned here just pretty good again. There we go. We are going to, and in fact, I'm going to try to get up a little closer without bumping it so you can maybe see where exactly I'm going to stitch on this. This is the video about understitching, and I have my hood over here. And as you recall from what I talked about in the step 20, whichever one we just finished. I think it was 21 or 2. I can't remember now. Understitching is a form of training, you might say, your one side of a seam that is going to lay like this. So that could be a collar, it could be any facing. It's to keep this one down and underneath the other one so that it doesn't peek out and roll out like that and you're seeing the wrong side. We want to see just the right side so that it looks like it just falls off into one of those infinity swimming pools I always think about. So to do that, again, we are going to stitch all of our seam allowance to the facing side, which is this one. So there's nothing over here on the actual outside face of the hood, or if it's a facing or whatever is on the public side, we like to say. Everything goes away from the public side, okay? And when we stitch it, we're going to stitch with, in this case, I am going to still stitch a wobble stitch, a very small wobble stitch. It's not like stay stitching exactly, but it does have an effect of that. Lots of times people lump it into stay stitching category, but it truly is an understitch. Under meaning that as you stitch this, you're going to train whatever you're stitching on the side, which is our facing side, to want to turn under and to stay under. So we're going to stitch it. And again, I have all of my seams this way. I pressed it and gave it a memory, right? So we're going to stitch on this like an 1/8 of an inch, a scant 1/8 of an inch away. You don't want to get into the ditch. Don't stitch in that ditch like on our pants with the elastic. You don't want to cross over and then come back. You want to keep everything on here. But the key is to keep it like this closeness here. If you go clear out in here, one, you might miss your seam allowance, but two, it will still have weird puckering up in it. So we want to stitch as straight as we can and as clean as we can along that edge. And this should not need back stitching because we're going to close it right after this, the bottom and neck. And it also, it doesn't need the back stitching, and it also could be a straight stitch if you wanted, but I am going to maintain my little wobble stitch. Okay, let's get this positioned up here now that I'm going, so it's not pulling against me, and I can get on path here. There we are. Now I'm where I really want to be stitching at. Just right on this edge right there. Here we go. Let's stitch a little farther, and then we'll straighten out our fabric and get another section positioned, making sure that that's facing. And we can always lift from the back, make sure that it's going the direction we want. There we go. I feel him over there. Feel the difference. And we'll stitch a little farther. I would like you to give this a try. You don't have to, but it really would be an upgrade to your quality and the skills and craftsmanship of making this garment. And there will be places coming up in our other courses where you will not have the option to do understitching. And it's always good to have some practice before you have to do it on a very elaborate project. You want to kind of know what it is. And this is a good project to start and learn it on. I love understitching. It just turns everything into a magic little edge. I'll show you when it's done. It's really a beautiful edge. But you want to be careful what you are stitching, because this could be seen when the hood is down, obviously. So you want to make sure that you're going as straight and as even as you can. Over the bump here now. There we go. He just slid right over. There we go. Making sure my facing stays over there. Yep. Or the seam allowance, rather, onto the facing side. Yeah. Still got his memory. He's laying right there. Right where he's supposed to. You're coming close here. Coming up to the end. There. All laying nice and flat inside there. Notice I'm not really keeping this very taut. My main concern is that everything is going to that side, because I don't want to warp this. It will have that natural little puckery feel, but that always comes out with steam after you've done a stitching and a knit. But you can pull this too much and it really ends up being a really pulled out a shape that the steam won't correct. All right. So now this is my outside. There's my grommet. Right? We're going to go and press this now. And once we do that, this is going to have this little beautiful little edge here. The camera, let me get it back out here. Once we press this just like this, it's going to stay. It really, really will. It'll have a nice edge here. And on the outside, it will have a beautiful edge like this. And then we're going to do one other stitching. After I press it and steam it, we're going to create that tunnel or channel for a grommet to come in and out of. All right, I'll meet you at the iron.